She ruled Africa's richest empire from a throne of gold and ivory. Her name was Makeda, and she ascended the throne at 20. Her kingdom controlled the spice routes from Africa to India. Caravans brought frankincense, myrrh, and precious gems to her courts. But wealth alone did not satisfy the queen's thirst for wisdom. Merchants spoke of a king in Jerusalem whose wisdom surpassed all men. They said King Solomon could answer any question ever asked. Makeda decided to test this legendary king herself. She loaded 300 camels with Africa's greatest treasures. She would journey north and challenge the wisest man alive. Her caravan stretched for miles across the burning desert. News of her approach reached Solomon's palace before she arrived. The king prepared to meet the most powerful queen on earth. Neither ruler knew this meeting would change history forever. The journey took 6 months through Arabia's deadliest sands. Bedouin raiders watched from the dunes but dared not attack. At every oasis, local kings sent tribute to the African queen. Her reputation as a sorceress preceded her across the sands. Some said she could command demons and speak with spirits. Her guards included warriors who had conquered 100 tribes. Each night, Makeda prayed to the gods of her ancestors. She refused to let any treasure tarnish before Solomon saw it. The final stretch climbed into Judea's mountainous highlands. Jerusalem's golden walls appeared like a mirage in the distance. Solomon's messengers greeted her 10 miles from the city gates. They offered fresh horses and a royal escort to the palace. The entire city poured into the streets to witness her arrival. No queen from Africa had ever entered Jerusalem in triumph. Solomon waited on his throne of ivory overlaid with pure gold. The temple's glory rivaled the queen's own palaces in Aksum. Makeda stepped forward without bowing, her eyes meeting his. She spoke her first riddle, one no man had ever solved. The court held its breath, waiting for the king's answer. Solomon smiled and answered correctly before she finished speaking. She tested him with 70 more riddles through the night. Solomon answered every single one without hesitation or error. For the first time in her life, Makeda was humbled. She realized his wisdom came from a power beyond mortal kings. She ordered her servants to bring all the treasures forward. 120 talents of gold she laid at his feet. Solomon had never received tribute from a foreign queen before. The meeting would be remembered for 3,000 years. The queen's gifts exceeded anything Jerusalem had ever seen. Each object was crafted by Africa's finest artisans. Solomon ordered his own treasurers to match her generosity. He gave her spices, precious stones, and rare perfumes. But the greatest gift was knowledge, not gold. Solomon shared the secrets of architecture and governance. She studied his courts, his laws, and his temple design. Makeda walked his gardens and marveled at their symmetry. Each night, Solomon hosted banquets in her honor. They spoke of philosophy, astronomy, and the nature of God. 2 empires grew closer through wisdom, not war. Makeda saw how justice flowed from a wise king's throne. She vowed to build Jerusalem's equal in Aksum. 2 queens would rule as sisters across the Red Sea. Their alliance would shape the destiny of both nations. On her final night, Solomon invited Makeda to dine alone. Only 2 servants attended them in the private chamber. The king spoke of things no man had dared tell a queen. He told her of the one true God who ruled all kings. Makeda felt her heart stir with a dangerous longing. Solomon made her an offer that could unite their empires. Stay and become his queen, ruling beside him in Jerusalem. But Makeda knew her duty lay in Aksum, not Judea. She would return to her people, not abandon them for love. Yet something passed between them that night, unspoken. Before dawn, Makeda slipped a ring from Solomon's finger. She said nothing, but her eyes promised remembrance. Solomon watched her leave, knowing he would never see her again. Neither knew a child had been conceived that night. The journey home felt longer than the months spent traveling north. Makeda spent the nights writing down all she had learned. She would rebuild her capital in Jerusalem's image. Her belly swelled, but she told no one of the child's father. The court whispered, but none dared question their queen. She ruled with greater wisdom than ever before. Her laws were just, her courts fair, her people prosperous. Trade with Israel enriched Aksum beyond any queen's dreams. She trained her army with Solomon's strategies. Yet each night, she touched the ring hidden in her robes. She named her son Menelik, meaning, son of the wise. The boy grew with features unlike any Ethiopian prince. His eyes held the same sharp wisdom as his father's. She raised him to rule both Africa and wisdom. She told him nothing of his father until his 20th year. On his 20th birthday, Makeda revealed Menelik's true father. She gave him the ring and told him to seek his birthright. Menelik gathered Ethiopia's finest young nobles for the journey. 300 warriors would accompany the prince to Jerusalem. The caravan crossed the same desert his mother had traveled. They carried gifts worthy of a king's ransom in gold. Menelik wondered if the great Solomon would acknowledge him. Jerusalem had not changed since his mother's visit long ago. Solomon's messengers greeted them 10 miles from the gates. The king watched from his balcony as the prince approached. Solomon saw his own eyes staring back from a young face. Father and son embraced before the entire court of Israel. Solomon declared Menelik his rightful heir to wisdom's throne. Solomon took Menelik into the Holy of Holies itself. There, the king made a covenant that would echo forever. Menelik could take anything from the temple as his birthright. But the prince desired only one thing: the Ark of the Covenant. Solomon hesitated, then agreed to send a replica with him. But Menelik's companions stole the true Ark under cover of night. They replaced it with a perfect copy none would notice. Menelik departed with the greatest treasure in human history. Solomon dreamed that night that God approved the transfer. The Ark's power would now dwell in Africa, not Israel. Menelik returned to Aksum as emperor of a new Zion. The Ark arrived in Ethiopia on the 10th day of Tishrei. It has remained there for 3,000 years, untouched. Makeda lay dying at 80, her body worn from decades of rule. Menelik knelt beside her, the ring still on his finger. She prophesied that her dynasty would rule for 3,000 years. No foreign power would conquer Ethiopia while the Ark remained. She made Menelik swear to protect the sacred covenant forever. Then the greatest queen in African history closed her eyes. Her tomb in Aksum became a pilgrimage site for all Africa. The Solomonic dynasty she founded ruled until 1974. 3,000 years of unbroken royal blood, as she foretold. No European power ever fully colonized Ethiopia, just as she promised. Her prophecy held true against all odds of history. The Ark rests today in a chapel in Aksum, guarded by one monk. Only he may see it, and he dies before revealing its location. 3,000 years of guardians have kept this sacred vow. Ethiopia stands alone as Africa's only unconquered ancient kingdom. The Queen's covenant with God remains unbroken to this day. Her bloodline ruled longer than any dynasty in human history. She tested Solomon and won wisdom greater than gold. A replica stands at the African Union, honoring Africa's greatest queen. African queen, wisdom seeker, dynasty founder, prophetess. Remember her deeds, not her tomb. The Queen of Sheba lives. Her tomb stands in Aksum. Her legacy lives in every Ethiopian. History remembers her as the queen who outsmarted Solomon. Remember her deeds, not her tomb. The Queen of Sheba lives.